Hi everyone, and today I welcome you to the answering of the questions that you've all sent in based on the discussion that we had last week with Minister Phillips at the Money Talk Hackathon at the Pegasus. Now, you've sent in a number of questions and they surround various areas of youth, children, abuse, etc. So while I'll attempt to answer as many as I can, please understand that I can't answer all of them. So there was a question that came in from Roxanne Williams, and she asked about sponsorship in rural areas because she says that most of the programs happen in urban areas. The truth is that we have several programs for rural youth that are under the NYS. When I started out as minister, we only had 5 programs. We're now up to 12 programs, and several of those involve rural youth. We actually have a great program, a partnership for young farmers to get assistance through the 4-H Club. We also have Entrepreneurship 101, which deals with 1,500 youth across the island, and it goes into rural areas for training. We also have grants that can be given to rural youth. So check out the NYS, and remember as well that all spaces are reserved, 10% of all spaces at the NYS are reserved for persons with disabilities. So if you know of a young, bright person who has a disability, they can also register with the NYS. I should also add that the government this year has allocated about $89 billion for programs in education, in national security, in labor and social security, in the Ministry of Youth and Culture, in sport. So get involved. You can also call us at the Ministry of Youth and Culture, and we can direct you to which program that we think would best suit you, because we are also a coordinating arm. Another question comes from Errol Townsend. The way we do politics and the partisan division, which has a number of persons sitting on the fence, are there any plans to institute programs that will temper this division? Now, as you're well aware, I think that everyone knows that there are 2 major political parties in Jamaica. The ruling government is the People's National Party. One of the things that I think has to happen for this kind of situation to change is for more young people to get involved and to have a different ideology about how politics should be practiced, because I think actions actually speak a lot louder than words. So if you look across the political divide, certainly I can't speak for the other party, but I know that certainly on our side there are young senators, there are younger MPs that are looking to a different form of the way we treat each other, the way we discuss things in Parliament, the way we give away resources, etc. And we are a lot less partisan and tribal than sometimes what meets the eye. Sometimes the media pitches us that we're very partisan, but the truth is we're very good friends with a lot of persons across the island. We have to work with persons across the island even to get legislation and certain legislation passed. Another question comes from Shandono, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Burton. Thank you for the opportunity. My questions are, will there be a part 2 of Money Talk? Yes, and that will happen in the West. And what is the Ministry of Youth and Culture doing to provide employment and development for skills? We know young people are talented, but there is talent, and to transform that into a model, put that to use. The Ministry of Youth and Culture, through the National Youth Service, which is our premier youth agency, has provided employment in several areas, both in terms of internships, which is our summer internship program for about 5,000 young people. And we also have our new program, which is a graduate work employment program, which was implemented last year, which employs 300 tertiary students. And of course, we have entrepreneurship. Many of these young people have actually become permanent. And we actually have a relationship now with the PSOJ, where we ask private sector organizations to take a lot of our young people that we train. Since I've been minister up to 2014, we trained about 40,000 young people across different sectors, in entertainment, in culture, you name it. And so that training has taken place, and we're now working to make sure that they get placed in particular areas. In terms of other ministries, you can also contact the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. You can contact the Ministry of Mining, Science, Energy, MSTEM, and there are several other places, but what I would advise you to do is call our youth division in the ministry, and we can direct you in terms of scholarships, in terms of those opportunities that are actually there. And even in terms of openings that are in the public sector. Another question comes from Fatima Everbless, like that name, very interesting. Marginalization among youth with disabilities has been a long-standing issue. And she goes on, what will we do with disabled youth with dreams, chronic ailments? As I said before in another answer, we reserve 10% of all of our spaces for work, for training through this ministry for persons with disabilities. So please contact the NYS because we don't believe any youth should be left behind. Then we have Lanza the Eiffel Powell. With the alarming statistics in the abuse of children across Jamaica, one can make an educated guess that the majority of children in Jamaica are not aware of their rights. Are there any plans to sensitize children? We've been doing that since 2012 through our Child Development Agency, and we have community rallies, we have community sensitization programs. We also we go into the schools and teach children their rights as a part of our Convention on the Rights of the Child. I do fora. We have social media updates, we have media updates. We just had our Children's Summit where over 1,000 children came to the conference center. So there are several programs that we do to sensitize our children for their rights and what their rights are. So thank you for that question. Pamela Allman, you have children in Jamaica. If children are being abused, they can call and talk about what's happening to them. It's confidential. Yes, we do have a line. It's 1-888-PROTECT, and the children can call that line. They can also go in to our OCR or CDA offices, and that toll-free line is confidential, 1-888-PROTECT. The other question is from Jamal Hall. Minister Hanna, do you think in the future that there could be the existence of some kind of competition that's judged by children, for example, through the JCDC, and the children could be the judge? Because to be honest, they are our future. We do have competitions, but children are not necessarily the judge. I'll ask the JCDC if that is something that they could take on in a real way. I know that sometimes they have past contestants who they rely on expertise for. So thank you for that suggestion, Mr. Hall. So until next time, keep the questions coming, and I will try my best to answer those and all other questions that you might have as your Minister of Youth and Culture. Take care, be safe, walk good. Bye-bye.